Episode 3, Growth and Development. Welcome to the YTM Podcast series, Episode 3, Growth and Development. For all those who have joined for the first time, it is recommended to watch the 2 introductory episodes and get more clarity for making your experiences more enriching. And also to be able to use this podcast journey as a self-help tool for transforming your thoughts before you go on listening. In a nutshell, life can be described as an opportunity to grow and develop. But to what extent one can grow and develop in a lifespan is what really matters. While there can be many aspects that contribute to growth and development, I am mainly covering birth, education, competence, career, problems and challenges, love, fear, faith, and death. Now let's look at each of them to discover how your thoughts matter. Once you finish listening each aspect, you can write your concluding thoughts. You can also attempt to re-evaluate your success, satisfaction, and happiness as per your concluding thoughts after completing this chapter. This can also be done collectively once you finish listening to all the episodes. Birth. Almost every second, a new life is born in this world, and all of us have gone through the same process of entering the universe. Such is the natural phenomena, and therefore, when it comes to life, it is an opportunity. One of the most beautiful thoughts associated with birth that has always inspired me to do more is, every day we are born again. What we do next matters the most. Other than the physical birth, here birth is also referred as a non-physical form, which also signifies the birth of thoughts that can lead to immense possibilities for making the most out of life. It is upon us to conceive and give birth to constructive thoughts in the form of dreams, desires, ideas, creativity, either by self-creation or adaptation. We can also refer to one of the most interesting scientific phenomena called placebo. I always say that placebo has great effects, provided one has full conviction in it. Actually, we live the life that we create or give birth to. And it is absolutely important to become conscious of the pattern of your thoughts, because your thoughts, which lead to action, will eventually turn into reality. I can recall many incidents wherein I gave birth to many conscious thoughts and achieved the desired results. One of them was definitely to write this book while consolidating various associated thoughts around it from my real life experiences and learning. As a professional life and wellness coach, in almost every scenario, we focus on conscious conditioning and the generation of desired thoughts to achieve desired results and outcomes, which of course followed by structured action plan. I can recall numerous cases wherein I could help people to heal from medical conditions and find solutions to their problems in life. In fact, all discoveries, innovations, products, dreams, goals, and businesses are the result of a seed called thought that gets sown on the soil of life. Therefore, we must pay utmost attention to our thoughts, birth-giving patterns, and even the adapted ones before designing an action plan. Take out some time to write your thoughts you can give birth to. Education. Our present education system, especially in India, has predominantly focused on 2 points: how much one can score and what is in it for me. This cutthroat competition for so-called survival, performance, and success has not only damaged the quality of education but also the mental well-being of students. The standards of our educational content are questionable as compared to ancient Indian Gurukul system, wherein kids or students were sent to Gurukul that is the house of the teacher or educator or master. Students were educated in these gurukuls to learn fundamental values, discipline, conduct, quality education, social, environmental responsibilities, and life skill, etc. Teachers as well as students sincerely took part in the entire process. But today's education system is not as good as it used to be. We can't go back. The only choice is to move forward. Therefore, we must reflect collectively or individually on how we want to make use of this important tool called education to raise our consciousness for becoming better individuals. Ever since I understood this, I consciously kept a list of everything that I always wanted to learn, which unfortunately I could not during my initial education days. For example, NLP, psychology, religion, healing, professional coaching, yogic science, knowledge of Veda. After acquiring substantially enough, now my understanding of looking at things from multiple perspectives has actually broadened to great extent. It is not necessary to find a traditional gurukul or education setup for everything you want to learn. In fact, your life in itself can be a gurukul or institution for education, provided you not only start learning from it, but start implementing it in your real life. Please do not get discouraged that your time has run out or you are too old for learning something new. While you can still find time to do various other activities, it is equally important to spare some time for learning something new. Now take a pause for a while to list down things you want to learn. Competency. In this competitive VUCA world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, only the competent survive and attain success. Therefore, every individual must strive to acquire the required competence or competencies, which is generally divided into skills, knowledge, and ability. Almost everything requires some sort of competencies. Well, there can be many examples from our day-to-day life that require some sort of competence or competencies. Similarly, to live your life successfully, you need life competence. Have you ever thought about why some people struggle with various or specific aspects of life, wherein other people do not struggle with those aspects? For example, somebody may be afraid of public speaking. Somebody may be having problems in their relationships. Somebody may be unable to make the right decisions. Somebody may lack confidence. Somebody may be facing problems in communication, and somebody may be unable to adapt good habits and leave their bad habits. What is the solution then? There are various problems in our lives, and there is a solution to all these problems, that is, to learn the required life competence. So find out what competence or competency you need and from where you can learn it. As a young and a growing professional during my days of struggle, I realized the importance of learning the required life competence. Therefore, while addressing people, especially youngsters, I always make sure to convey and convince them that if you want to shine like the sun, have fire, which is the competence like the sun. So far, collectively and individually, I have seen transformational changes in many lives through the implementation of these life competencies. Time for you to take a break and make a list of all the competencies that you want to acquire. Career. A career is a progressive professional journey for every individual. Therefore, at the start of a career, it is about making the right choices and moving forward to avoid troublesome situations or getting stuck in wrong place or with wrong people. The real challenge is not just about making the right career choices, but also about how good your work environment is. Unfortunately, work culture nowadays has increasingly become full of stress and complexities. One has to be smart enough to handle day-to-day situations and people. Have you ever thought about why there is so much of unhappiness, stress, and dissatisfaction among working professionals? Why do people often find themselves helplessly stuck with their career choices? How to find true passion rather than tension for pension? And how to be more competent and successful in your respective career. Based upon my overall experience and observations from career counseling of professionals and students, the problem is simply that people are not in the profession or job of their true passion and choices. This results in poor job performance, lack of job satisfactions, and both physical and mental health issues because your career is ultimately your lifelong career. Therefore, choosing a career must be a conscious choice rather than an influenced or forced one. Unfortunately, that is not easy in our society. Therefore, we had to design and develop tools and methods to help individuals find the best career options as per their interest, passion, and competencies. Among many career counseling cases, I would like to share one here. One day we had a parent visit of an adolescent daughter for career counseling. After initial formalities, I asked the daughter what she wanted to become as a professional. With some hesitation, she said, "Doctor." After complimenting her choices, I politely asked her why she wanted to become a doctor. But unfortunately, she could not explain much. The girl admitted, saying that it was not her decision or choice. Her parents wanted her to be a doctor because of social influences. I politely explained to them that if one cannot speak about their career choices for 5 minutes, then how can he or she be able to survive being a doctor for 5 years? That day, I had to counsel the parents before successfully counseling the daughter. Similarly, it has happened and still happening to most of the children and professionals. That is why, when it comes to a career choice, one should think of why before what. Although it is better to decide it for yourself, or you can reach out to someone who can help you decide it, but beware of those professional career counselors who are just selling career courses. Can you take out some time to list down your whys for your career? Problems and challenges. In short, thinking of problems and challenges will not help at all, but thinking of solutions and opportunities will. The rules are simple. First, you must accept your problems and challenges, as most of the people waste most of their time trying to change factors out of their control rather than focusing on solutions. They waste their time blaming others instead of utilizing their thoughts and energies more towards finding solutions and opportunities. I still remember I was addressing a group of senior leaders during a leadership development program. One leader was struggling to accept the problems associated with leadership job, and I had to ask him a simple question to get him aligned. That is, why do you have this job? He tried explaining his thoughts but could not get to the point. And I had to introduce him to the harsh reality. That is, you have a job because there are associated problems and challenges. And if we remove all your job associated problems and challenges, then the first thing that you will lose will be your job. Thankfully, he not only understood the point but could also make the most out of the leadership development program that day. Let's take some time out while listing down your problems and challenges and seeing them as an opportunity. Love. One of the most desired or prominent feeling is love. But unfortunately, this may hurt you to know that the love people think or talk about is the conditioned version of it rather than the realistic one. For love, the first and foremost prerequisite is to let yourself be unconditioned, so that the love you feel flows naturally and unconditionally. The love that we see around or get to experience is the manipulated or conditioned version of it, which is more of a transaction rather than the real one, wherein all we do is to set or fulfill expectations and individual objectives. Real love is unconditional, natural, and free from physical, mental, and material bondages. Therefore, there's a big difference between liking, infatuation, attraction, and real love. So make sure you don't mix them up. Our ideas and thoughts about love are borrowed and influenced by the world around us. And that is why modern love cannot sustain itself for long. One of my friends loved his girlfriend so much that he eventually married her. And everybody was so happy. But one day when I was at their place, I saw them fighting. It is not that lovers cannot fight, but that was different. So I had to intervene. While trying to settle down the whole drama, I asked them, "What happened to your love?" It is not that people who love each other do not fight, but they are actually able to look at the bigger picture and try to find the problems instead of each other's. True love always makes two people feel like one. A fight or an argument is never one-sided. It is also essential that you should not pretend to love, as this may manipulate you to such an extent that you won't ever get closer to the realistic feeling or experience of love. You cannot plan it or force it. The seed of love can only be sown and nurtured so that it grows and flows naturally. If you cannot learn to love yourself, you cannot love others. Therefore, you should not find reasons to love. Let reasons find you, and the rest will make you fall into a place called love. Take out some time to reflect. How can you rewrite your understanding of love? Fear. Fear is about how you look at it. Psychologically, fear is a natural human reaction associated with external or internal factors. Perhaps nobody can say that they don't feel fear. We all do. The only difference is the ability to take conscious decisions despite being afraid of the consequences. It takes courage to act on what really matters for you. In most cases, fear can just be a creation of our minds or thoughts due to uncertainty or lack of clarity. For example, students often fear failing in examination without result being declared. People fear losing someone when they have not lost that person actually. Irrespective of whatever fear one has, the source of all fears remain the same, that is death, which also signifies suffering, pain, and loss. If your fear can push you to achieve positive results, there should not be any problem. People can be nurtured by using their fear factors to help them achieve their desires, goals, and objectives. The real problem is when your fear starts controlling you instead of you taking control over it. Then it can lead to physical and mental problems as well. Fortunately, if you cannot deal with your fears directly, then you can always seek help from others, especially from professionals like life coaches, psychologists, and healers. One of my clients reached out to me as he feared that his startup business would fail. During the consultation, I asked him to write down all his fears and their associated reasons or sources. There is always a thought or a source, connection, or a reason behind every fear. So he was able to list down after 30 minutes of brainstorming and discussion. For the next session, I asked him to put on his best clothes as if he is going to a party or an award ceremony. We then had a wonderful neuro-linguistic programming session at my office wherein he could not only learn to take control of his fears, but also to celebrate his success before making a list of his redefined business action plan with a fresh and a positive perspective. Similarly, you may also be struggling to overcome your fears, but all you need to do is decide how you want to deal with them today. Faith. As I've experienced in my personal life so far, here battle mostly take place on non-physical or psychological grounds. The more you feed, the stronger it gets. That is the fear of faith. Therefore, it is directly related to an individual's conviction. Sometimes it may appear impractical or superficial, but still the thought of faith has the power to change and bring out the desired results. At times, this can be referred to as courage. that is, a process of moving forward despite fears. There have been several instances that I can reflect on wherein I had to counter fears. Other than various tools of behavior and neuroscience, the most important one has always been faith. In an interview with a popular magazine, I was asked, "How did you feel after quitting your job at the peak of your successful professional career and starting over again with your startup? What was your biggest fear?" Below is my short response. The biggest fear in this scenario was the fear of failure. Before preaching anything to others, I always practice first. Therefore, all the tools mentioned in our services are self-practice, and it is needless to mention that I use these tools to manage myself, people, and situation, and their application helped me to keep going despite fears, challenges, and problems. Also, I have realized my true purpose. Therefore, I wake up every morning with faith and think naturally about what can be done rather than what cannot be done. For me, the fear of failure is limited, as both success and failures are part of the same process. As long as one is sincerely learning and adapting, there is no failure. However, there is a difference between faith and fantasy. While fantasy can just be a short-lived imagination of inappropriate or impractical thoughts, faith will always have an upper hand. At times, if your conviction gains substantial strength and energies, then even your fantasies can lead to faith. Faith can give you the required perspective to see through the darkness. You can learn to obtain it through various sources like reading real-life stories of faith, reflecting on your life experiences, speaking to somebody with the mindset inclined towards faith, and seeing how your faith has helped you achieve and succeed in life. Take a pause and think, how can you grow your faith? Death. In our material world, also known as Maya, everything that is born will die sooner or later. Therefore, death is inevitable. It is the associated uncertainty of death that makes it interesting and stressful, as neither anybody has control over it nor the exact knowledge of what happens after death. Practically speaking, all of us are going to die, so the food for thought should be how substantially one can live and contribute to making the most of this opportunity called life before the actual death. Death is not always associated with getting rid of the physical body. It is also about removing bad qualities, bad habits, and negative thoughts from your life. The truth is that we may be unconsciously dying due to our negative thoughts. The only difference between real death and unconsciously dying with negative thought is that we can control the later one. When someone asked me about the wealthiest place I have ever visited, I replied, graveyard. It is a place where the most valuable ideas, creativities, and possibilities are buried alive. Sometimes during goal-setting exercises and sessions, I consciously ask people to imagine what is that one thing they would want to do or experience before they actually die. Interestingly, this single thought of death can trigger interesting wishes, ideas, thoughts, and goals that we can use while one is still alive. Time for you to reflect whatever you want to get rid of, along with your wishes and desires.